Hey, and good evening to Hope House Church Red Chair interview. This is the second Red Chair interview. Tonight I'm really pleased that we've got a very special guest with us. And the very special guest for tonight, this Tuesday night Red Chair, it is Neil Huddleston, who is about to go live now. And here is Neil. Round of applause for Neil.
Thank you, everyone. That's warms the cockles of my pants.
Absolutely. So everybody at home is now cheering you on, Neil. Welcome to the Red Chair and the very stripy wall behind your head.
I like it.
I'm loving that wallpaper. I'd like to use it in our cafe as we're redecorating before we're waiting to reopen. I'm told it could be tough on some of the old people's eyes that sometimes come in. So Neil, Red Chair interview. Welcome. Yes. This is a no-holds-barred conversation about anything we like for 10 minutes maximum, okay? Which means we now have 9 minutes to have a conversation. So tell me about, Neil, first of all, Neil, tell me about the big gap in your mouth.
Thank you, Paul. Actually, at the moment I have 2 big gaps in my mouth. I have one at this side, where I lost a canine tooth, but I have a gap that you can't quite see at the back. So if during this, or I keep going like that, it's because I've lost a tooth. I lost a filling in one of my teeth, in one of my top molars, and I've got a right sharp bit digging into my cheek all the time. And
Neil, you are very gracious letting me make fun of you right from the outset. Just that we are socially distanced people. You can't tell us, but we are socially distanced. We're well away from each other in the office. But from where I'm sat, looking slightly to the side of Neil, actually my eye falls immediately onto the fact that he's just having some dental work done. Neil, I'm deeply, deeply sorry.
yes.
Tell me about you, Neil. If I kick you off with my thoughts and memories, I remember a young man that I met many years ago when we were extremely young, and I remember, forgive me, these are old stories to you and me, but new to other people. I remember cars bursting into flame. I remember cars on their roofs. 1,001 different crazy things that you got up to as a young man when you first joined us at church.
Yeah, that's right. In 1986, late 86. I know lots of people must say this. I genuinely look back and cringe at just how, I don't know what the right word is. I suspect gauche might be the right word. And just, I appreciate those of you that didn't know me then might think I can be thoughtless now. I used to be really thoughtless, and I appreciate that might shock some of you knowing how thoughtless I can be now. But I used to be really thoughtless. Oh.
Well, I'm fascinated by the fact that you were gauche, because that term's actually looking like, yes. Actually, I'm not entirely sure what being gauche is, and we're not going to go into that. I'm not going to demonstrate my ignorance. So 1986 you came here, and see, my memory of you, Neil, is you've always been involved right at the heart of the church. Sometimes at the crazy end, but always always just where life is happening in church. So I'm right in thinking music,
Yes.
practical skills, just serving around the building. You've just always been right at the heart of everything that happens.
Yeah, I think perhaps because I was saved when I was 18 rather than when I was 8, or it was all new to me. Come from a completely atheist, unchurched background. Everything was new and everything was exciting, and everything was new to me, and everything was exciting, and so I wanted to get into and do everything because it was all fun. It's still all fun. All the things I do now are still fun, actually. But it was all good fun.
So one of the good fun elements of life was that you met your wife at Hope House Church, or Barnes Christian Fellowship. It was another incarnation. Yeah. Lots has changed since then, but basically there's only a handful of us that remember those olden days. But you actually met your lovely wife as well.
Yes, yeah. God changed my life twice. He saved me, and that was fantastic. And then he introduced me to Joe, and that was just. But for salvation, introduced me to Joe was the best day of my life. It absolutely was, and it changed everything. It just did.
Everybody heard that all here, so we know that you're a romantic. And actually, I have to say, for anybody that is listening into this now, I have heard Neil talk about Joe like that so many times. So I know that is true because I've been hearing it for nearly 30 years.
30,
Just 30 years.
30 last month.
30 years.
30 years, 1 month and 4 days.
Neil, how did
60.
this happen? We were young and foolish, and now we're just like middle-aged and foolish. How did this happen? And Neil, some of my other memories of being with you around church, things that is that you are known for taking 1 or 2 physical risks around the building. Any kind of memories of some of those crazy things we used to get up to around this building?
We've been on. I think we've been on every roof. We've hung over most roofs. We've been up ladders in every single room. We've touched the ceiling in every single room in this building and in the other building. The only reason I don't go on the ceiling in this building is because I think I'll go through it. But I've been on the roof in this building. We've both been scolded by our wives for doing things that were probably riskier than they ought to have been. I remember the old scaffolding we used to have before we bought the good stuff, was just, looking back, the Lord was in it, because it was terrible stuff. I remember taking the basketball hoops down.
Oh, that's a memory I don't really want to bring to my mind, but that was properly scary. Neil, that is the one time I felt like we could die here. Oh, no, that's not true. There was a second occasion putting bars on some windows. That was also an occasion I thought we need to start doing health and safety and risk assessment.
Properly, yeah.
Which we now do, everybody. We
Yes,
now do.
Yeah,
We're, in fact,
as well.
Neil, it's fair to say that we got a really good commendation last year from the insurance company because our health and safety records and management had improved so dramatically. We were like number 1. Wow, this church is brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike was with us. Mike Stead was with us for the basketball hoop. I don't know if he's going to watch this, but Mike Stead, bless him, actually is the only reason that the whole thing didn't come down and trap us both.
And this is Mike, who is Mr. Safety, and he got himself involved with you and me doing something practical. Yeah, not a wise move, Mike. Neil, we've got about 3 minutes left, so these are very quick interviews, as you've just worked out, and it's us just talking about what life is. So you've gone from being a young man that got saved at 18, getting involved in the life of the church in every aspect, to being part of the music team, to being part of a Cayley band that grew out of the church here. So musicianship and worship is central to what you do.
Yes.
You've been a home group leader, group leader.
No, that's the one thing I've never done. Never been a Connect group leader.
You were an official Connect group leader for a while.
Yes. Oh, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, we'll leave that there. But you were unofficial, because then when we found out you were unofficial, we absorbed you into my Connect group many years ago.
That was good. You're a good Connect group leader.
Well, thank you.
You were.
And then you joined the leadership of the church, and you're now part of the core leadership of the church and one of Hope House Church's directors. So what are the responsibilities that brings? Because that's not the fun 18-year-old stuff. This is like the grown-up big boy time, long trousers time.
Yeah, it's still fun. It's still enjoyable. I still enjoy the things I do for church. I still enjoy that stuff. One of the things I do, I'm the church treasurer. And so, more or less once a week, I spend an evening in the office at the Blucher Street campus doing the church accounts, doing the church treasure stuff. And when I finish and go home, Joe sort of sympathises with me because I've had to do this. And every week I have to remind her that I actually quite enjoy it. I don't find it a chore, I don't find it difficult. And I think that's one of the reasons I've done so many things in church. I've been so blessed through it. Is because I've always known I was working for God. I've always known, and I've generally done things I've enjoyed, whether it's children's work or youth work. I didn't enjoy that much, but I'm not think I'm allowed to say that was because of the youth, because some of them might watch this. But it was all their fault. So at the moment I'm the treasurer, and I guess that's the thing that takes up most of my time for the church.
And that's interesting, Neil, because you are the treasurer, but this is on top of that. You're also in full-time work. You're obviously at home. your son lives with you at home, you've got a daughter, you do a lot of caring for your mum at times, who's an amazing lady, but an elderly lady, but she's still very much an amazing lady. So you've got a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
Now, treasurer, I just want to ask, am I allowed to ask tough, big questions about treasurer and church? So right now, Neil, we're in the middle of, we're still locked down really, we're just beginning to emerge from lock. Churches can't meet, we can only do online stuff. Churches, what do I keep saying? The buildings are closed, but this church is alive, and it truly is.
Our church really is alive. Actually, this is a great opportunity for me to thank anybody from our church who's watching, who is still giving, because the majority of people who were giving before lockdown are still giving to the work of the church. They understand that the work of the church still goes on. When the doors are locked and we can't come in, we're still a working church. We're still doing things. We're still... You can see me because the lights come on, because we're still paying the electricity bills. The church still needs money. I was talking to one of my friends who goes to a church where they take offerings, or where they take cash money before the start of this. And I was saying to them that actually I feel confident, fortunately my confidence was well placed in our church, that people would keep giving. But churches like that, actually, if people aren't used to giving online or by bank transfer, then those are the churches that might really have troubles.
Sorry, I was going to say this is really exciting, because it means that things like a food bank are continuing. We're not all about. We've had to furlough our cafe staff because we're not allowed to run the cafe.
Yeah.
But it does mean all other activities and the expenses that we have with the campus buildings. I mean, all of that has been brilliantly well covered, because people seem to have a real vision and a heart, and they want to support that. And that means that we can be prepared for unlocking and being a really healthy place, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And going into this, this is going to sound really, really unleaderly, I guess. But I think I had more faith in our people, almost more faith in our people than I did in the Lord, because I had faith that people love the church as much as I do, as much as we do.
Yeah, and that's been really evident, hasn't it? So, I mean, this is not just a financial interview, but it is worth saying, Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, but since we went into lockdown, we've had some significant gifts given to us.
Yes.
We've had, I know of, a gift that was given to us to support people that were struggling if they were in furlough.
Yes.
We've had gifts given to us just as church to allow us to continue working, and we've had new people begin to give to the church on through the banks on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, so that's just astounding that new people new to us have actually started giving while we're in lockdown. And I will say, Paul knows this because I told him, but Paul doesn't know who it is, or Paul doesn't know who they are. I tell the leadership broad brushstrokes, but I don't tell the leadership any names. We really are a no names, no pack drill as far as financial matters are concerned. Yeah. The finance team know things, but the leadership, they don't need to know personal details.
And we choose not to, so we can treat people with fairness and care without any bias whatsoever, whether they're able to give or not able to give.
Yeah.
People are just people that we value.
Absolutely. That's always been essential to us. That's something that if we were to pride ourselves on, and I think we can pride ourselves on a number of things, that's one of the things that I think we can pride ourselves on, that we do our very best to keep that to keep personalisation out of finances.
Neil, that is really helpful. I've got a confession to make to you, Neil. These are 10-minute interviews, and we are now approaching 15 minutes. So I'm going to stop it there, because we're meant to keep people hanging
I don't think anybody but you and I are going to do 10 minutes. I really do. Nobody that knew us Thought we were going to park this in town.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the longest of all the interviews that we do, the Red Chair interviews. But Neil, I just want to thank you on behalf of everybody at Hope House Church, because I know lots of people really appreciate all that you do. And I know it's difficult, but I've got you on camera with the camera looking square in your face. You can't stop me at this moment. But I'm going to give you a round of applause. You can imagine that's the whole of Hope House Church that genuinely appreciate it, because so much of what happens at Hope House Church is enabled because you and the finance team actually join it together. You make it work, and you do that because you're part of the vision of the church, and because people have vision, they'll invest into that vision because they know it's about reaching people, being community. And so we just want to thank you, a massive thank you, Neil, for all that you do for us. It is super, super important. We're really, really great.